Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Kara here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of September 14th, 2023. The current character challenge is for Luchador Bane. It's a 1 week challenge repeat. The required characters are Wonder Woman, Nightwing, and Flash, who are available at their lowest tier at Silver, Bronze, and Bronze respectively, so not that hard to get, even if you don't already have them, just buying them directly from the store. His passive is Feel the Pain, which means upon tagging, Bane has a chance to stun his opponent and receives a 25% boost to all damage for 4 seconds. He's got 1,100 attack and 800 health. This challenge was last available on the 17th of November, 2022.
Right. So, good news if you want Luchador Bane, because he's the beginning of another cycle in the challenge. Bad news is if you were hoping the challenge cycle is going to change. I mean, they could change it at any time to include the 23 characters that are missing. But I always feel like there's a little bit of, maybe a little bit more hope. I'm always a little bit more hopeful when one cycle's finished that there's a chance that there's something brewing. But yeah, characters have been gone for a few years now. Mm-hmm. So he's got low stats for gold, 1,900 combined. Between the two stats is lower than Arkham Origins Bane, it's lower than Arkham Knight Harley Quinn, it's lower than Aquaman.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at just the health, because that sort of stands out, the 800 health, Insurgency Joker has more health than him. I mean, there's just so many characters that have more health than that, like, golds at least. Ares has 900, 100 more health than Luchador Bane.
Yeah.
But he also has 1,200 attack, right? So overall, he's got 200 more combined stats, and Ares is considered a bit of a glass cannon.
Yeah.
But Luchador Bane is the original glass cannon. So a glass cannon, people use that sort of loosely, but I think it's more than just a card with low health. The fact is that back in the day, Luchador Bane was the most devastating, and he was a glass cannon because he could do a huge amount of damage, but he was pretty vulnerable. Mm-hmm. If you look at his chance of stun on tagging, it's well over 50%. I want to say it feels like somewhere 75%, but it's hard to say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's really what allows him to do such massive damage.
Right, because we're leveraging the boosted stun damage. Mm-hmm. And if you want to see the last time we had him in action on a team and a lot of different discussion, you can go back to our recap from November 17th, 2022, when we first started doing the weekly recaps with the challenge characters. So in that video, we already went one step away from the traditional loadout and stacked both Cloak of Destiny and Necron Scythe for boosted stun with Tantu Totem to reload after each tag-in or after each knockout. Mm-hmm. And that non-traditional loadout was meant to partly address what if he doesn't stun? What if he doesn't crit? What if your opponent has a revive? There was all different strategies for that, for what we could do. What you saw was the same team composition that we've used before with the traditional loadout with Hawkgirl and Batgirl, but different gears. And there's a lot more discussion in Q&A Season 9, Episode 37 about why this works so much better in the current meta. And you can see it for yourself if you want to go to that video. I guess it bears mentioning actually what the traditional loadout is. Traditional loadout is League of Assassin's Knives for special 1 boost and splash damage, Cloak of Destiny, which independently has a chance of stun, and boost damage if he stuns, and if he crits, it boosts that too. Mm-hmm. You could use Necron Scythe instead, but it doesn't have a chance to stun, but it does give him a revive if he knocks someone out. And then his third gear would either be Razugo Scimitar or Tantu Totem for the Bower of Power when he tags in immediately, or if you have Batgirl as a teammate, you can use your third slot for Lexor Gauntlets to increase crit chance or special 1, crit chance on special 1, and chance of stun. I mean, Tantu Totem is the best because it gives you your power back for the rest of the opponents, right? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Or Quick Bar if you are unsuccessful and need to tag out. Both Batgirl and Luchador Bane are good with the exact same loadout. So at that point, the hardest decision used to be whether to give the load if both of them are on the same team. With Necron Scythe, when that was introduced, you could do both. So what you're watching now, so this is a third iteration of this. Well, we played actually a lot more, so it's not really a third, but the third sort of main iteration. A slightly modified loadout from even the non-traditional one. And I have to say that the more I play with it, the more I am loving Enchantress Companion Gear for that one ability of Flying Skulls. I mean, technically it's two abilities. I mean, if you're going to look at what it actually does, it not only disables the opponent's specials, which it doesn't say it does, it gives you health, which is what it says it does.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because you know how each gear usually has a list of the number of abilities? This is, like, pretty spectacular.
It's like one ability that has multiple, like, extra effects.
Right, and the effect isn't something that's stated, but, you know, some gears have like a 25% chance or something of disabling specials for a while. This is a 100% chance of disabling, almost 100. Like, if you do damage or you have an effect, it's basically, you disable their specials.
Yeah.
So I gotta admit, I'm a little bit slow on the uptake, right? But Luchador Bane Special 1 suffers from exactly the same problem as the late game stat monsters who have a high damage Special 2 that can only knock out the opponent on the last hit. I mean, we geared him to do a huge amount of Special 1 damage. We keep on thinking of it as Special 1, but because of the amount of damage it does, we're using it to knock out people the same way we're using the Special 2 to knock out people with the late game stat monsters. It's single hit. Same problem, right? So basically it's one hit, so that means you can only knock them out on the last hit. Effectively, like speaking.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the same vulnerabilities. And Enchantress is equally effective as the same solution. So it won't prevent your opponent tagging effects after you knock someone out, but it buys you time. Does a decent amount of damage flying out after. So it gives you a boost to the amount of damage to the next opponent. So if we're really talking opportunity cost, because like I said, it's non-traditional, other gears that you could have used might be better in some ways, right? Enchantress doesn't increase your crit chance like Lextro Gauntlets does for Special 1. It isn't more stacked stun damage like Necron Scythe, which would really be great. And it isn't splash damage like League of Assassin's Knives. But it doesn't come with, say, the vulnerability to Brandishing Shadow, which you would get with splash damage. And it makes up for that splash damage with the skull damage. And it protects from tagging effects, which Knives don't. So I feel like there's a real, like, you just watch the play. It is just so much good. So much fun. So there's a playlist with Luchador Bane where you can really see how the different team compositions and gear loadouts were effective for their times. The funny thing I like to point out is that there were 3 videos of him on a team before Cloak of Destiny existed, before he was really any good.
Yeah.
Because it was that Cloak of Destiny loadout where you could boost the damage, do a splash, and he was basically a nuke. You'd come in, do a Special 1, and then the entire team would be
like one health. Yeah.
And their teammates, you knock at the one in front of you, the teammates would come in with 1 health each.
Yeah.
It was devastating.
So we are 173 weeks into a repeating challenge character cycle that first appeared in May of 2020. That's 4 complete cycles of a 43-week sequence, and we are in our first week of the 5th cycle. Next week should be Blackest Night Hawkgirl, as long as the challenge cycle stays with the same pattern.
Right. So we've had 3 interruptions. I think we're actually going to have an interruption to our own schedule. Otherwise, we'd be trying to maybe do some of the ones that we missed the first time around, which is Batman Ninja Joker, John Stewart Green Lantern, and Arkham Origins Bane.
Yeah, but we'll maybe do that in 2 weeks' time from now, or in a little...
Right. So a bit of housekeeping for next week. There might be an interruption, maybe not. We're going to be filming next week's weekly recap ahead of time instead of the same day. And if it's correct, you'll see an upload. And if it's not, maybe just nothing. Or maybe even audio with some images, because our circumstances, it'll be, never mind. I was thinking I was going to try to explain it, but yeah, forget it.
Yeah. This week's multiplayer award is Riddler's Cane, which becomes Riddler's Staff. Its effects when it's maxed out is a 35% max health increase, a 15% XP bonus to team, and the evolved ability, which goes up to a 21% chance to blink against Special 1, and blink just means avoid the attack, disappear in sort of a cloud of question marks.
Right. I mean, you see some people use Riddler's Cane plus Mother Box on the same character to avoid Special 1 and Special 2, but the percentage is low enough that it's maybe not a hugely effective strategy.
Yeah, it was last available in the 9th of February 2023. For this, we are 141 weeks in a row of a consistent pattern, so that's 4 complete cycles of a 31 reward sequence in 17 into a 5th cycle with nothing missing, unlike the challenge cycle. And next week should be Suicide Squad Joker Unhinged.
Right. So the Riddler's Cane or staff is a little bit broken. If we still had accounts that were accumulating XP, we would be able to tell, but it used to be that it wasn't giving bonus XP or only giving it to the card in the first slot, which is kind of useless.
Yeah.
Well, not useless, but it's really ineffective.
And that 15% unfortunately just doesn't make a huge difference anyways. I guess it's helpful. It's better than nothing, but it's not great.
It would be so much better if it helped the team, because then you'd have a better strategy for getting your whole team pulled along.
Yeah, I think for for how rare of a gear it is, it would make a lot more sense if it was like 50% or 100%, because really when you're grinding, you need it to make a difference that you can actually feel.
Yeah. So the max health boost, you can get that from other gears. Blink on Special 1 is potentially interesting, but Tantu Totem has made it mostly obsolete, especially since at best it just dodges. So if you look at other things like Wally West's passive or Dawn of Justice Batman's passive, they will actually do some damage, or in the case of Batman, potentially stun if it's unblocked. After the opponent dodges, after you dodge the special, you're making the opponent pay.
Yeah.
1 in 5 chance, 20%, right? 21% seems about right. Too much, it would be unbalancing, but too little, it's making a bit of a waste of a gear slot. I feel like it should blink more often, the way your opponent in multiplayer will blink more often if they're using it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the equivalent should be. It doesn't seem reasonable to use up a gear slot to be about as good as a passive ability, so you don't want it to dodge as often as Dawn of Justice Batman or Wally West.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite gear.
So there we go. Moving on to the store, we have the Blackest Night Hawk Girl pack. That's $24.99 Canadian. These prices are going to be in Canadian dollars because that's the information that we have.
And that's the only currency that matters.
It's a corroborating clue to next week's challenge. It doesn't come with credits, so this is like the really overpriced one, because there's the ones that are about half price that just give the character, and then there's the ones that are about this price that give you a character and 100,000 credits. And then for some reason, every once in a while, there's the more expensive pack that doesn't come with the credits, and it's just like a really, really terrible deal.
Right. What else is new? So there's the character bundle Flash TV. It was last available April 20th, 2023. All right, so there's a recent question about when the next pack of something is coming back, and a lot of times we can't tell, but it feels like a lot of packs are on maybe somewhere between a 5 and a 6 month cycle.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. This one's fitting that 5 month cycle. So it comes with the Reverse Flash, Metahuman the Flash, and 2 of the same gear, Hyperspeed Plated Suit, because there's no other Flash gear variants. I mean, it's not bad. I think they are both multiplayer rewards. So, I mean, not my favorite to spend money on packs, but every once in a while, like, say, the other pack that's hanging around is the Arkham Pack 1. It's the second week. That's not a bad pack, because sometimes, say, with Arkham Knight Batman, it's hard otherwise to get them. I don't think there's another way to get them without paying at least for the first copy of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's new for the store. A bunch of other packs that have been around for almost a couple of years now, so they're not really new or worth mentioning, I don't think. Yeah. So what else? Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was, as expected, Raven, Superman, and the Arkham Knight. Coming weekend is probably Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, and Martian Manhunter. Link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle. And yeah, this is where we would normally talk about current glitches, if there was something new. But unfortunately, nothing new.
Yeah.
Hasn't been for a while.
So the only sort of important thing to note is that the challenge reset glitch is working on Luchador Bane's challenge.
Right. And I guess the other thing worth noting is that even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month. It's the first week of every month, so the last time we did it was actually last week.
Yeah, so there we go. So to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all the folks who support us on Patreon. That is Alexis M supporting us on the Your Message Here tier, Michael Devries, Irvin, Ruiz, and Hoshi127 supporting us on the credited level, and then names scrolling past now who have supported us at some point during the pandemic. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.